Hey, what's going on? Welcome to The Doug Show. My name's Doug Cunnington, and today we're getting a case study update from Olga Zarr. And we've talked a handful of times. This might be your fifth appearance on the show or something like that. But we've been chatting probably like every quarter or so for the last year. I haven't been paying close attention. I don't know how many times you've been on. I don't know how long we've been doing this case study, but you've been on a few times and you've been essentially just trying to, grow your site. We're going to talk about what you have been working on, some things that worked, some things that haven't worked, and what is coming up for the future. So Olga, how's it going today?
Hi, Doug. I'm doing great, but I'm kind of obsessing about SEO recently even more than I usually do. So I'm kind of overworked, but other than that, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. My voice is getting a little bit better and I don't know what's going on. I feel fine. I don't know, maybe I slept really hard last night, but it sounded like I just woke up for a while, but it's getting a little better. So we're going to work on it. I'm going to try to make my voice sound as smooth as possible, but I've been up for hours. I don't know why I sound like this, but I'm good.
That's
I'm
weird.
good otherwise.
Okay.
So for the people that didn't hear the other interviews, we'll link up so they could check them out. But what's your story? Who are you? What do you do? What do you spend your time on?
Sure. So I'm Olga Zarr. I'm an SEO consultant. I've been doing SEO for about 10 years. I mostly work on my own website, SEOSLY, where I share a lot of tips, tutorials, or everything around SEO. I have also been recently publishing podcast episodes, and I also have a newsletter, stuff like that. And in addition to that, I do SEO consulting, client SEO. So there is a lot to that, and I have been a happy SEO consultant who doesn't have a job for, I think, almost half a year now. So I'm super happy to be fully on my own. And Doug is helping me is coaching me regarding how to maybe better monetize it, because I'm planning on doing my own SEO course. I'm actually started to build one, and I have been doing some affiliate marketing, but I think Doug is the person who can probably help me with that. And it is always nice to have someone who will keep me accountable, because I had some breaks with how often I published on my website. Then I got back to that, and now I am doing all I can to be more consistent with it, because this is something that is driving the results I want. So that's in a nutshell.
About how many hours would you estimate that you work per week?
I started to measure that. I was measuring that with different types of tools, but recently I installed an app called, I don't remember the name of the app. It's a weird one, but it is kind of a Pomodoro timer. It is, now I only count those focused hours of work, because I noticed that I get distracted. I start doing one thing, then another, and I don't remember where I started. So I kind of revamped my working schedule a bit quite recently. I have now every task for one day in my Apple Notes, and I'm using this app. And for the past 2 weeks, I think there was around 50 focused hours. But sometimes some of those I didn't really track. I think there was actually more, because I once got so kind of into the flow that I forgot to activate another hour. Sometimes I was started doing something and forgot about the app. So I think it was maybe closer to 50.
Okay, gotcha. And then what's your sort of ideal, maybe week or every couple weeks or something like that, as far as the number of hours? And we'll talk about what you have done, but
Sure.
before we started recording, you were like, I've been pretty busy, and you were talking about your obsession with SEO, and
Yeah.
I mentioned that I got over that, and I'm trying to,
And I cannot.
yeah, I'm trying to stay away from the computer and keyboard often as much as I can. So now I'm like, okay, what's your ideal week? What do you want it to be?
To be honest, I love this stuff so much. And when I especially start doing something that is like very kind of, very, something that's really kind of, I cannot really stop doing. Captivating, I think maybe that's the word. And this is, for example, recently I started obsessing about schema in links, like trying to do advanced schema on my website. And I was supposed to do it for an hour, and then I spent entire day doing that, and I still haven't finished. And it is like when I start, I cannot really stop. But I would say the ideal in an ideal world, I would definitely spend a few hours a day. I would say maybe around 4-6 hours in front of the computer, and then doing, of course, sports, because I still do sports. This is something that kind of cannot be excluded from my day, and then some walks, some trips. That would be, I think, ideal.
You're a runner, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like I I get up very early, I work a couple of hours, and then I take a break and I go on a treadmill or just running outside, and then I come back
Got it.
and work until I fall apart. Usually 7 p.m.
Until you fall apart. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I used to do. In your part of this is coaching. So
Yeah.
when I'm telling you stuff, sometimes people are like, "Why are you telling her what to do?" Olga asked me to tell her what
I
to do
want I
sometimes.
want Doug to tell me.
So one thing that has been helpful for me is to stop before I fall apart, as you put it. So maybe at this point it's like 3 p.m. So I'll stop what
Uh-huh.
I'm doing by 3, and then, whatever, go for a walk if it's nice outside, or start prepping dinner. I usually do most of the cooking, something like that. I'm doing work probably until about 3 most days, or the days that I'm working rather, and then I'll pack it up, and then I stop, and I don't do anything else unless there's some pressing thing, which is maybe once every 2 weeks. I'll think, oh, it's 7 p.m. I'll come back down to the basement and then do a
Mhm.
little bit more. But don't work too much. You'll get burned out. And it does come into play for some of the things that we've talked about, which I can't remember if we recorded this part or not, but like you'll do a lot of work, and then your consistency isn't as consistent. To be completely redundant, it's not as consistent as you would want it to be. And part of it
Mhm.
is you might be like working too hard on certain days, and you're doing like 12 hours when you could have done 8. And if you just did 8,
Mhm.
then you would be able to do it, whatever, 6 months at a time, and be really consistent with it, versus like
Uh-huh.
working the hard sprints where you need to rest. And as a runner, a distance runner, right? You have to manage like the full race, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a sprinter, definitely.
Yeah. What's your
So,
distance?
sorry?
What's your running distance? What do you do?
Half marathon is my best, but I
Okay.
also do marathons, but I prefer half. I
Okay.
think it is like the most, I would say, the safest. It is way safer than a marathon, and it is still kind of, you are able to function normally after a half marathon. After a marathon, usually the next day you are dying. So
Yeah. I've never done a full marathon. The half was my distance as well. And now I'm trying to like just avoid injury. We've talked about it before, but
yeah,
we could talk more off the clock here. So you were about to say something. I interrupted you.
yeah. I wanted to say two things. That my obsession kind of, I don't know what happened with that. I think this is a good kind of obsession, because I'm obsessing about my own stuff. And this is to the point that I skip running outside. I do practically all the runs inside on a treadmill. And while I'm running, I am listening to some YouTube or podcasts at a like 2 times speed or 1.5. So I am like still using running to learn more. So That's one thing. Another thing, when I still had a job, I was actually like, I got burned out. And there was a point when I actually I stopped enjoying SEO. But then I went on vacation, I resigned, and it is now kind of, I think, I am like, again, fully in love with SEO, but I know that uh, it won't last forever, so I should probably listen to your advice.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll go up and down like anything, but I mean, I do the same thing, just different areas. And it might be, currently it's like ChatGPT, and I've been playing with Mid Journey, the
Yeah,
image
me too. Me
generate.
too.
It's super cool. Like, it's kind of fun. And it's the kind of thing where you can just kind of keep going and iterate and then like get a new idea and then try to plug it into what you learned before. But I'm like, there's other stuff that I want to do. So I'm getting better at just like, I can come back to it, or it doesn't fucking matter. And I could just
Yeah.
ignore it for a little while. And if I'm still interested in whatever, in 24 hours or a week or a month, it'll still be there. But I could make sure to take advantage of like good weather or whatever, like social situations, and go to live events or something like that. So,
That's
okay.
a great point, really. And I am doing my first in-person conference like in 2 weeks, Brighton SEO. So this is going to be, I think, a change of scenery, and I'm taking 2 or 3 days off around this. So that's, I just have to finish this marathon until Brighton SEO.
Nice. Cool. So let's talk about some of the stuff that you have been working on. And, you sent me a list. I'm not sure if we'll have time to go through everything, but what are the highlights of things you have been working on? And along the way, you could tell us like, this was a successful piece, this was an unsuccessful piece. So there's a little bit of each, and I'll just turn it over to you.
Yeah, there is so much that I don't know even where to start, and I probably could talk for hours, but maybe I will start with something that didn't work. So I don't know how many interviews, I think 2 or 3 interviews ago, I mentioned that I am, as part of my content creation process, I am adding those shorter articles, which basically answer some frequently asked questions about SEO. And to each article, I shoot a video, and there is like a recap of the main points from the video. And I think I created around maybe 30, maybe less, of those articles. And the way I selected those keywords was basically Google autocomplete, or like simply keyword tools like Answer the Public. I wasn't paying attention to keyword volume at all. This was like a test. I'm selecting super easy keywords. And that's true in most cases for those keywords. When I type this exact keyword, these were keywords like, can I rank on page 1 on Google in 2 months? Something like that. Long, very long keywords.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, after some time, when I typed this keyword into Google, I was ranking number 1 very often, with even with the featured snippets, and sometimes there was even my video somewhere below. But as I have been obsessing around my website recently and trying to find better ways to kind of optimize it, monetize it. I was doing a lot of analysis. I combined data around keywords, traffic from multiple tools. I put everything into spreadsheet, which is like super long. And those articles simply, they had like minimum or no traffic, and they were actually, in some cases, they were cannibalizing my more like broader articles. Like, for example, there was an article about, can you use Google Search Console to do keyword research? I think something like that. And I had a very long article about how to do keyword research for using Google Search Console. And there were a bunch of those examples. So today I was actually going through that, and at first I put canonical tags on them to canonicalize them to those bigger pages. But then I realized that I will just remove them and redirect them. So I think I did that with, I think, around 15 articles, because like I just want to keep the stuff that's working. So that was a bad idea. Some of those articles started to rank for some broader keywords. Like, for example, I had the article like, can you, are meta keywords bad for SEO? Something like that. And this article is ranking on page 6 or something for meta keywords SEO. So I found a bunch of such articles, and I refocus them to those more broader keywords, and I will be simply rewriting them, making them more in depth, and the rest has been simply redirected. So this was one thing that didn't work.
And you pivoted, so you end up with potentially those new articles, like the meta situation where you're like, okay, that maybe that wasn't on your radar. Is there anything that you could have done in the beginning when you were finding those keywords to know that they were going to cannibalize or otherwise be a bad piece of content on your site?
I think I should still confront those keywords with keyword volume, even though many people say that keyword volume doesn't matter. But I also created a bunch of similar articles of that style, but based on actually like keywords from SEMrush Ahrefs that actually have some traffic, and those keywords are actually now bringing me a lot of traffic, even though they sound similar. But those ones didn't even appear in those tools. So from now on, I will probably only be writing for keywords that actually have some traffic. And then I think this cannibalization won't be happening that much.
Okay. And these are all informational, right?
Yeah. Informational, mostly like the purpose is to get people to sign up for my newsletter, to sign up for my YouTube channel or podcast.
Got it. Okay. And I'm doing a similar where I was finding keywords based on either autocomplete or maybe related searches, but kind of in this same kind of category. Yeah. However, it's product focused. So these are ranking really quickly, like in the top 5 within 2 or 3 days. They're keyword golden ratio terms. So I get questions like every week if it still works, and it does.
It does.
So in the difference here, the reason why I'm pointing it out, so I didn't look at search volume. Some of these are going to get a little more traffic. Some of them aren't. I don't think it's going to cannibalize, but it might. Sometimes Google gets a little confused. And a lot of these terms are kind of similar to other product names. So there could be an issue with that, but I'm not sure. And you don't know until you publish it and then wait a little while. But the big difference here is the products that I'm reviewing are kind of expensive, like a few $100s, and it's affiliate revenue. So I don't even need that much traffic. If I just get like the right handful of people, it could be something that earns whatever. One article earns like $50 a month, just ongoing. And if I publish 20 of these, then it makes a big difference. So it's a different business model, but people shouldn't write it off just because you're not getting a lot of traffic and there's a risk of cannibalization. Like you have to publish it to figure out what Google's going to do. And Google could switch too. Like it could cannibalize for a while, and then you tweak the titles a little bit or tweak the copy, and then Google sorts it out. So
that's true. Right. That's true.
Okay. Anything else to add around your approach there? Any key takeaways that people can learn from?
So I would say my takeaway is always do keyword research, because it still took me some time to write those articles, to record those videos, to kind of edit them, publish them. So I think you should always make sure that the time you're going to spend creating something is actually going to pay off. And that's why now, for example, I will be creating more articles that are focused on specific tools. These are tools I am affiliate of, but these are the tools I'm actually using in my daily work. So why not write tutorials using those tools? I think it will be smarter than just doing stuff from people also ask or like autocomplete.
Totally agree. Yeah, those will be potentially profitable for like the long term. You mentioned YouTube a couple of times. So are you going to do like YouTube tutorials plus like written tutorials as well?
Yeah, that's my plan. I already did a bunch of those. So I'm writing a written tutorial and a corresponding video to that. And I am actually leveraging ChatGPT to that a lot. So for example, one thing I did, because I usually shoot the videos in a way that I know what I'm going to say and I just hit the record and I don't have any script, because if I do, then I start to looking at the script and it doesn't really work out. Maybe I haven't practiced enough, but I record the video like that. Then I took the transcript, I put it into ChatGPT and asked it to create an article for that, or just bullet points. And it did that. Then I kind of added something more, and in some cases it worked really well, and I think saved me a lot of time.
How long are the videos, and maybe how many words are the transcript if you have like a ballpark estimate for maybe like a 10-minute video or something?
Yeah, I think I don't remember the words because I can only tell you like the output with my kind of additions. I am shooting at around at least 1,000, maybe 1,000 and 200, maybe 500 words per article. And the videos vary, but it is from a couple of minutes up to even 30 minutes, depending on the topic.
How much editing would you say you do after you get the output from ChatGPT based on your transcript? So if people didn't follow, you get the transcript from your video, which is your own words. It sounds like you have like kind of an outline. You take the transcript, you put it to ChatGPT, and you ask for either bullet points or like a blog post based on your transcript. How much work do you do after? Yeah.
I think it's still too much work. I would say like even if I write an article with the help of ChatGPT, either this way or like from scratch using ChatGPT to help me, it is still around, I would say, 3 hours of work,
Okay.
including like doing images, optimizing images, stuff like that. In the past, it would be probably 5 hours or more, but I'm quite slow.
Okay.
But now it's still faster than it used to be.
Have you published any of those articles based on your transcript?
Yeah.
How are they doing? Are they ranking pretty quickly, like normal? It sounds like you're doing a lot, pretty decent amount of work after the fact. But how are they doing?
They are quite new, but some of them are ranking pretty well, I would say.
Okay.
I would have to double check, but it's kind of, I think, working because they are based on keywords, actually keywords that have volume. So of course there are my own words in this article. It's not that everything is taken from ChatGPT, but
right.
but ChatGPT has I think a better English than I do, and it sounds better in many cases. So I sometimes even ask it to simply rewrite what I wrote in a better way.
Okay. And yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, you could use it to make it more concise a lot of times when we're
that's
talking.
what I'm asking it very often. Yeah.
And we'll, repeat something or we'll use the wrong word, and then it can fix it much faster than we can and without using our brain power up. So
exactly.
All right. Cool. And what's your approach going to be for affiliate marketing? So you listen to my show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
So I do.
So, well, before you answer, so for me, I am a poor affiliate sometimes. I don't promote very many products. So when I do, it's usually fairly effective, but I'll also talk bad about products. And the reason why is like I want to be like authentic and truthful, but I was burned as a like young entrepreneur coming up, and people were like, you got to use this theme. It's the best theme in the world and it'll make a huge difference, or a piece of software. And I would like trust the people and buy the software and then realize that it really wasn't that good. Sometimes it was buggy. Maybe they were just, they were just great marketers. So I'm the opposite direction from that. And even the products I like, I'll talk about how they're not perfect, and I'll be really authentic. So what are you going to be a little more diplomatic than I am? Or
I
what are
don't
you going
think
to do?
so.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is my plan. So I have a very wide set of tools, SEO tools I'm already using, and I sat down one day, not a long time ago, and simply checked which ones of those have affiliate programs. And it turned out that a lot of them do, like Jet Octopus, like Kajabi, right? Like Cloudways, the hosting I'm using, SEMrush, and it's WP Rocket. I'm using all of those tools, and there are more. Surfer SEO. So I just thought that maybe I will start simply sharing with people how I use those tools to accomplish and what I accomplish with them, and simply put that affiliate link there because I am still using those tools anyways. So that's an idea. I think something that can probably help me monetize them a bit, monetize my site a bit better. And is there something else I could be doing regarding affiliate SEO? And I can also, one thing that I'm also planning on doing, I want to create a paid kind of membership area for SEOSLY people, where I will have like monthly calls with those people, and maybe I will share something daily with them. And I also want to do this using Kajabi, and the same with SEO course. And once I have those things, I want to have an affiliate program for those things so that other people maybe can promote me. So that's something for
Okay.
now.
So the other side too. Great. The Going back to the first part of your question, there's probably like just a couple other things. I mean, you have the general idea of exactly the best way to promote those products, and that's to have tutorials and like show results and that sort of thing. And similar to how you were writing how to and FAQ type content for your blog, you could go down to a very minute level where you're showing how to do a very specific thing for like very advanced users. Not many people are going to be able to benefit from it because most people are beginners and they haven't heard of the software, but you'll be in the same way you're doing the content, like you'll be sort of on an expert level tier where you're showing how to do this really like complicated stuff. You lose most people, but the people that can benefit really get a lot out of it, and they'll be sort of evangelists for you. So that can be helpful. It may not directly lead to the sales, but it'll help like sort of overall. The other two, which one of them I've had great, effective, like really good conversions, would be, on your email list to promote, certain products at certain times. Maybe you can provide a bonus. Maybe it's one of those advanced tutorials. Maybe you give a lot of them out for free, but maybe you have one of them where you give it as a bonus if someone uses your affiliate link, and they just send you the receipt afterwards. So some kind of bonus. It could be that, it could be something different. But if it's like a high ticket item, then you could deliver something like
Great tip.
really good. The one that hasn't typically worked well for me, but some people are, I think it's people that get a lot more traffic or something like that, but they have like the resources page on their site. So you get enough traffic on your
That's
site.
something I also have on my list, like the list of SEO tools I love. Yeah, this is like now being created.
Perfect. Yeah. And that's like, a no-brainer. I should go update mine, but everyone had them and people were talking about them and blah, 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 but they never really converted. I mean, I didn't get much traffic on those pages. No one really cared.
Mhm.
If I just take that and then throw it into an email, then that would convert a lot better, which,
Oh, okay.
it's just my content or the amount of traffic I get or something like that. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
it could be the same exact content in the email or the page. So, there's no work. In fact, I need to redo my autoresponder series. It's so
Mm.
old. Olga, you'll have to maintain yours better than me. But yeah, I revamped it and I'm
Okay.
like, I'm good to go. But that was like 4 years ago. So it's really out of date. And I was starting to get emails and people were like, is this still accurate? Like, it's kind of old. And I was like, oh man. So
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Let's you ready to switch over to YouTube and talk about like what you've been doing over there?
Sure. So I also like I recorded a lot of those videos around FAQs, and of course I put them on YouTube as well. But I wouldn't say they were really performing that well. They had some views, but I think they were too basic, maybe because like some of those questions are so stupid, and my answer maybe was stupid too. And when I like started to obsess about SEO like recently more than I usually do, and I started to study like those very advanced topics, then I kind of thought that maybe I want to repurpose and maybe do less beginner stuff, maybe something more advanced. But then I kind of thought that maybe I am like, I have to learn this, and that to be able to do that. But to the point, I'm thinking about removing some of those too obvious FAQs from my channel. No, I'm not recording them, of course. Now I mostly publish my SEO podcast episodes there. Usually, this is an interview. Sometimes this is an interview with another SEO. Sometimes this is a specific topic. And I also kind of revamped and created kind of a new weekly series called SEO X-Ray, where I simply do live SEO audits of websites. This is not done live, but I'm recording the audit and I haven't seen that site before. So people send me the site and then I hit the record button and I'm reviewing the site and talking what I'm seeing. Because I think I asked people what type of content they would like to see, and most of them said they want SEO audits, video SEO audits. So that's why I'm now going to create more of them. And these are the topics, the videos that perform the best, including the videos where I talk, where I show something how to do with the tool. Like I think my top video is how to crawl a website with Screaming Frog, which is like probably the best of all. So I'm going to do more of such videos. The growth is kind of steady. Maybe not like this is not a growth like that, but it's still. I think I used to get like 50 or less subscribers per month. Now I'm getting 150. So I am getting close to 2K subscribers. So I hope I will be there in maybe a month or so. So I am quite happy, but I still think there is a ton for me to learn.
Yeah. And have you looked into doing like some collaborations or other interviews with
Yeah.
other, is that working out well or have you started with it?
Yeah. I started one with Miriam Jessier where we talk about money in SEO. So we already recorded like 3 videos and I think people like it. We talk about things that usually people don't want to talk about, like pricing in SEO or like the asshole tax. For
Yeah,
example,
sure.
when you apply it like, to a client that is kind of exaggerating with something. So this is something I've been doing, but I am also looking for another SEO who would like to do something maybe on a more regular basis. If it's, I would love to have you if you want, if you can. We do that, but maybe not
Yeah.
on such a regular basis. I recently had a chat with you about ChatGPT, and it was quite a good interview. People enjoyed it. So I am thinking about growing, expanding in that
Yeah.
direction.
Couple ideas. Yeah, we'll talk about it after. But a couple ideas. One is if you do hit upon a topic that is pretty good and you saw that it resonated with your audience, or maybe there were more questions on LinkedIn or Twitter or more interaction or something, you should take that idea and like do outreach in a good way. Don't like blast the internet with a bunch of emails, but like you could say, hey, I did this video on this topic. It went really well. This is similar to like if you gave a talk at a conference and then you could like do that talk again, or you could take that talk and then like be on podcasts or other YouTube channels, but you could just, find people in our space, say, hey, it was a popular topic. You could send the original video. I would love to talk about it on your show and see. I mean, they see that it works and you're obviously an expert in the area. So why would they not want to have you on the show? And then you don't have to like recreate the wheel and come up with another topic and blah, blah, blah. It's just like the same thing over and over. You'll get better at it too. Hopefully you won't get bored with it, but you'll get better at delivering it. And if you are on shows or collaborating with people that are, they have some skills, they'll ask questions that are more interesting and like get, deeper into the topic area. But that's a thought so that you can bring a topic that is a good one and just talk about it even more. And if you're, you really look at your whole funnel, right? You want people on your email list, pick a topic so that you could refer people to a page that converts really well on your site, that sort of thing. So you can kind of put it all together. And, the second part of this is when you go to Brighton, there will probably be a lot of people that you'll meet to collaborate with. So that's like one of the best places to find folks. Because if you just get an email, it's kind of it's a cold pitch and it's much harder to connect. In person, you'll be able to, sit down and chat for a few minutes or whatever. And then those will be, I still have like a stack of cards from like the last couple conferences that I've been to, and I haven't even been able to like collaborate with everyone that I wanted to. But I have like probably 20 people that I could, call or, email and have a great conversation, good interview. Both audiences will benefit from it.
Yeah, awesome. Because like I started SEOSLY during the pandemic at the start, so I didn't really have a chance for an in-person conference because before that I was hiding under the rock, living under the rock. So this is going to be my first time, and I think that's a great idea.
Cool. So we have a few more things to get to. So we're going to skip some of this stuff on our list here, but you mentioned a couple things that were working better, some that were working worse. One of the big things is your email list, right? So we're working together on this. I love email. Like that's my main marketing channel. How's the email list growth going?
So it is, again, growing faster than it used to. There was something happening when I moved to Kajabi, like it kind of stopped growing for some time. I'm not really sure why, but it is kind of now back to growing. And again, this is not like very huge, but I'm getting, I think, around 300, maybe more subscribers per month. So kind of okay, I would say, not the worst. Of course, there are spikes sometimes when I have more traffic, and at the end of the day, I would like to put all my efforts into that, but I still think I probably need a bit more subscribers. So I am also looking to find new sponsors because I have a sponsor. I used to have more sponsors. Now I have like one main one. So this is definitely something I need to work on more.
Okay. And what's your open rate and click-through rate generally?
Open rate is a 35% and more even, and CTR is around 4%, 4 or
Okay,
5, depending. Is it
great.
good or bad?
Yeah, both of those are excellent. I was going to say my open rate is about 30%, which is pretty high
Mm-hmm.
for like a marketing
Yeah.
email list. And then my click-through rate is low. I think often it's like 1 to 2%,
Mhm.
depending on what I'm sending out. So it's something I've like kind of struggled. A lot of times I'm sending out an email to go to an interview like this one. So it's podcast or YouTube. And technically, right, if you or I get an email like that, I would go to YouTube or I would go to my podcast player. I wouldn't necessarily click through. So it's a little fuzzy, but your click through rate is very high, especially for, a marketing type email list.
And what are your thoughts on that? Because I used to send the entire newsletter via email. It was very, very long. There were so many links there. And people told me that sometimes it got marked as spam. Then I tried to make the newsletter shorter, but then I kind of thought that maybe I would do what Mary Haynes does. So she has the newsletter on her website and she simply sends the link to the newsletter. And I think I started doing that, and I'm doing that for, I don't know, 10. I've been doing that for maybe 10 episodes so far. And what are your thoughts on that? I'm simply like I send only the information about the sponsor and the link to the newsletter, and maybe something like follow me here and there. And simply people are simply go to my website and can read the newsletter there. What do you think about such a solution?
I think generally you should be getting the subscribers to click to go somewhere. And I heard this when I started my email list, and I've kind of stuck with it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you'll have a course or other stuff that you want people to buy. So you kind of want to train them to follow the link in your email.
Mm-hmm.
That said, sometimes I don't do it too often, but sometimes I'll send an email and there's no link. Like I put everything in there, like you said, or there's no action to take. It's just like I'm sharing a thing. That's pretty rare. It's probably only, say, 5% of the time, something like that. But generally, I like what you have shifted to where you're getting the email subscriber to click over, go to your site,
Mm-hmm.
eventually, or sometimes that will be your course sales page.
Oh.
So make sure that they are used to clicking something to be entertained or learn something.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Because I still wasn't kind of sure 100% if this is the right move, but it also increases the chances of my sponsor getting clicked like 100 times, because then I had so many things and now
Right.
they basically have two things to click.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, I mean, you don't have to always do it, but the fewer things in there, the better, because then it increases the likelihood that they'll click
Yeah.
something. So, most of the time I try to just give like one option. It's like you can click this thing or
Uh-huh.
not. Like you can watch it
Yeah.
on YouTube or you could listen to the podcast. That's about it. And play around, because sometimes and every now and then I'll make a very short email where it's like, I did this, here's two things about it, here's the link, and that's it. Like very short. Other times, I'll make it a little bit longer, but test it out, see what you like. Variety is good. If you do the same thing every time or have the exact same format every time, sometimes people will get
Yeah.
just sort of
Used to
complacent.
that.
Yeah, used to it,
Yeah.
complacent. I mean, if you can give them what they expect. That is good. But sometimes like the pattern interrupt is good too.
Yeah.
So, play around.
Yeah, sure. Makes perfect sense.
Okay. And as we're wrapping up here, let's see. What do you want to talk about? We mentioned ChatGPT a little bit. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, or maybe some of the courses you're taking?
Maybe the courses, because like when ChatGPT launched, it kind of like started my whole kind of thing that I'm doing now, like obsessing about SEO and learning. I was obsessing, but I wasn't obsessing that much. When ChatGPT started and like this arms race started, and this arms race is only it's not only between like Google and Bing, it's also between I see like programmers, creators, because they want to create the next thing, the next tool. They want to show something that they can create with ChatGPT, and I kind of started to think that I probably need more AI programming skills to be able to really leverage ChatGPT to kind of create something like that. Because I have some programming basic knowledge, I would say. I even wanted to be a programmer at some point, but that was like I don't know how many years ago. So I don't do programming now at all. And I found a lot of courses around AI, like simply understanding AI, how it works, machine learning, like what it is, how it works, how to connect the dots. And it always leads to Python as well, and like some computer science topics, which maybe I'm not aware of. So I'm now kind of trying to take and finish those courses one after another, so that I actually have the background that I can use to maybe in the future do something with AI, with ChatGPT, because we don't know really what's going to happen and how my job as an SEO will evolve. And I want to be ready and fully understand how it works, because this is simply like text prediction in a more advanced way, and I want to understand exactly how it works and how I can build something, maybe not similar, but something that can help me become better at what I currently do, which is SEO. So this
Cool.
is
So that's cool that, you got interested and you're like, okay, I want to learn some stuff. As I think that's fine. As a counterpoint for you to think about, and I don't have a strong opinion on this, but I potentially would, maybe finish what you were doing and, kind of have the basics. But I think with programming and probably a lot of other things, like if you just kind of learn about it and you don't have a specific thing that you're trying to solve, if you don't have a problem that you're trying to solve, you'll kind of learn some stuff and it'll just be out of your brain
Mhm.
after that. You can reference it in the future. So like I said, maybe finish what you're doing, but when you have the problem to solve, then you can find the stuff that's really relevant, because you're probably just getting like an overview of just a bunch of stuff that is hardly
Mhm.
relevant to you. And when you have the problem to solve, then you can go learn the specific thing that you need, work on that, and then you'll be able to apply what you learned right away and you'll learn it much better. And then, you'll run into other issues and have to learn more. But basically, you probably don't have to spend too much time on it because you're aware that it's there. And then when you have the problem, you'll know where to turn because you did some of this preliminary work, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Because you don't have a problem that you're trying to solve right now. You're just like, I need to learn.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
that AI, yeah, I need to learn, yeah, because I know that on the other hand there is this planned. I have the plan written down exactly what I need to do, what are my priorities, what are my goals, what are the tasks. I have it all here. I just have to sit down and do it all together. But on the other hand, there is this like shiny object AI that I want to learn. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so a couple other quick observations. One, kind of did the same thing, but I was like, I realized exactly what I just told you. So I waited until I had a problem and I was like, oh, I want to train ChatGPT on my own, say, email copy, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
transcripts. But at the time, it was really hard to feed ChatGPT or GPT API anything longer than a certain amount. So I was like, I want to feed in 10,000 words, but I could only feed in 2,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to ChatGPT, started to ask for Python scripts so that I could feed in whatever 10,000 or more words, split up into smaller chunks, right? And I figured out how to code it. It was pretty easy, but I just used ChatGPT. But the point is, I had a specific problem that I was trying to solve. So it was like I could go and figure out how to do that. I could ask ChatGPT for the code in Python. I had to solve some things along the way, like how to run Python scripts on my computer, blah, blah, blah. So it was a whole set of things, but I like set it up. It only took like an hour. It's pretty easy to figure out. But anyway,
That's nice.
you could do it that way. The other observation is kind of like you. I mean, I have like various content that I'm trying to create. So I'm on a bit of a treadmill where I'm always trying to create and I'm doing other stuff too. And I don't have as much like boredom. So I'm not coming up with as many good ideas to do something new. So one thing that you might realize is like when you maybe don't work as much, going back to our very first topic, don't work as much, maybe get a little bored. Maybe on your runs, you don't listen to podcasts or YouTube. You can listen to mine.
I do.
But maybe you don't listen to others because you'll get some pretty cool ideas if you're not constantly filling your brain with like new information. So especially if you used to run without like consuming like nonfiction content, or maybe you listen to music or whatever, or nothing at all. I used to like to run with like nothing so I could just get bored and look at the scenery or whatever. But you will probably have more interesting ideas if you're not constantly like trying to produce stuff or get new ideas from, you know, content creators like us.
Yeah.
Everyone else listened to my show and Olga's show, but yeah, if you get a little bit bored, you'll have some cool ideas because you've consumed a lot of knowledge is in your brain already, and it just needs to like kind of come together in a unique way, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think so. Because when I used to take longer bike rides, this is something that I very often came back with a few ideas, quite good ones. So yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to that one too.
Yeah, and the bad part is when you listen. I stopped listening to a couple of podcasts that I really liked because every time I listened, I was like, I need to do that thing, or I felt like I was not doing enough because whoever was on the show, whoever was being
this is
interviewed.
what I'm feeling all the time now, especially with ChatGPT when there are those headlines like, I use ChatGPT and now it earns me, I don't know, a few thousand dollars per day.
Yeah. I've seen some of those and I'm like, these people are they're full of it. They're not even using it. They're just making, videos that are getting clicks and all that stuff. But, I'm doing videos, but hopefully mine are useful.
Yeah, there definitely are.
Okay. So what's coming up for the next quarter or so? And, right now we just finished Q1, so we're starting Q2. So what's on the horizon? Do you have any specific goals?
Yeah, so I did that revamping. I wrote down all the goals I have. So my goals are to get to 10K followers on Twitter and a similar number on LinkedIn. For example, I noticed that I was ignoring LinkedIn for a long time, but I noticed that when I share something on LinkedIn versus when I share it on Twitter, I end up with way more followers on LinkedIn. I'm not sure about the quality of those followers. I haven't measured that in any way, but still, I think the audience is my reach there is bigger. So I want to like grow those, and of course YouTube. Maybe clean this up a bit from the videos I don't like anymore, and of course content creation for SEOSLY. With ChatGPT, I can create more articles per week. Realistically, I can do 3 or 4 per week, and I want to stick to that because like I want more organic traffic to grow my newsletter and at the end of the day, like create my course. So I'm planning to release my course in the second quarter, but we'll see if I again have some delays.
Okay. That's too much stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
I
tell
think
you
so.
that now. So you don't have to answer now, but shoot me an email in like a couple days and tell me which one you're going to focus on. Can you share how many people are on your email list?
Yeah, I am now getting close to 5,000. I think around 4,700, something like that, maybe.
Okay. Do you know what you are going to put into your course?
So my course, I have like the entire schedule, the entire plan was supposed to be about SEO audits. I wanted to create a great, long, big course. But when I watched your recent video about courses, you suggested that the first course doesn't definitely have to be like the course. So I changed my mind and I want to create a course about leveraging ChatGPT for SEO, but in a very basic way, just using the interface without doing all those magic things with APIs, plugins for people who are maybe less advanced. So that's the idea. I of course have to make sure that this is there's something that people actually want, but this is something I'm planning on doing, like a test course.
All right. Okay. So I have some big advice or maybe
Yeah,
tips.
please.
Okay. So you have almost 5,000 people on the email list. You have a 30% open rate. You need to launch your first course. The one that you mentioned where you're using ChatGPT is perfect for a smaller, bite-sized course where it's not as challenging.
Mm-hmm.
When I launched my first digital product, I think I had, I don't know, say 400 or 500 people on the list. And
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I think I made like $1,200. It was an ebook. I sold it for $100 and made a little bit of money. You have a lot more people on the email list. You'll do a video course. You'll be able to make it a higher value, so you'll be able to sell it for a lot more. But the growth on all the areas that you mentioned, you got LinkedIn, you have YouTube, you have the other thing. You're trying to write more. I suggest you table all of that. And I don't know your cash flow or what's the highest priority, but I would say maybe dial all those other activities, the content production, back maybe to 25% of what you're doing so that you could focus on validating the idea, right? So you have the email list. All you have to do is email. Like a lot of people are opening that email every single week when you send it out. You could pre-sell it, just like I say in the last episode that you're talking about. And then you'll know if it's a good idea or not. And if enough people sign up, you'll make the course. There's no better motivator. If people paid you however much you're charging, then you'll make it. You'll finish it, and then you'll go back and update it. So if there's anything that you needed to update or something was not clear and you need to add some FAQs and answer people's questions, but nothing should be holding you back. You have a pretty sizable email list and following in different areas. So You don't have to commit now, but what are your initial thoughts on my suggestion?
I think, yeah, this is what I needed to hear probably. because I still keep putting this off until I have a bigger audience, I learn more, and I kind of I have those episodes when I obsess about learning and I'm not doing the course. So maybe I should, like, as you said, table some of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And like right now, ChatGPT, people are so interested in it. And I mean, you may be one of the earlier courses where it's ChatGPT for SEO topics, specifically auditing, right? Is that where your approach will be?
I'm not really sure. I was
Okay.
thinking either SEO in general or like on-page SEO, or
Okay.
I'm still thinking.
Yeah. So figure that out, and maybe each one of those are a good idea, but you won't do them all at once. You just pick the one, roll with it, and then you can layer them
Yeah.
together. You could bundle them in the future. Everything's messy. I think I said it in that episode a while back. Like,
Yeah.
just launch it. There's going to be mistakes and errors, and you're going to forget something. Hopefully, the quality of everything will be good enough to ship it, and then you can go and improve it later if you need to. But it's really, yeah, there's nothing that should be holding you back. Like with the sort of the foundation that you've laid over the last couple of years, you should be able to launch and do really well. Like my email list right now, after like a decade, is 10,000. So if you have
Uh-huh.
5,000, that's awesome. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
you could do
2
it.
years.
Yeah.
My email list is exactly 2 years old.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, that's awesome.
okay. We'll see how it goes.
I should get tips from you. So
I don't think so. But I
okay.
can try.
So what we'll do is we'll figure out the details, but you should be able to do what we talked about here and then
Okay.
prioritize stuff properly. So for people that want to learn more about you, maybe check out the course, right? That should be coming out. Where should people find you?
I think Twitter, LinkedIn, and SEOSLY.com. So everything will be in those places.
All right. Great. Thanks, Olga. And we'll catch up probably in a few weeks here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Doug.